The show.
1,000 Questions is an entertaining discussion of marriage. We aren't telling you to do or feel or change anything about your life. Really, just listen and enjoy. And if you need real help, find a professional for your specific problem. We don't know you. How could we speak to your deal? Okay, have fun.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to 1,000 Marriage Questions. Joe Marlotti made it. Hello, Donna Wilburn. And yay. And now the goal is, of course, my only goal is to get somebody to give me a cease and desist. That is totally illegal. Playing that video.
Every week you do that. How is that?
And I've only once has somebody said, you can't play that. And it wasn't even on Facebook. It was on YouTube. And then I just cut it. But why I do it is because Steve Goody and I are now doing another show on Sunday nights, and all we do is play our stuff. That's all we do. Literally 5 hours later, we have muted your entire show because you're stealing copyright from ourselves. I just got one yesterday that I had to fight from 7 months ago. They finally found a video that I put up that I created from Werewolf's Lament from our Halloween album that we own. They now have taken it away and said that it's somebody else's copyright. Yet SNL, no problems whatsoever.
Hysterical. That is hysterical.
Hysterical.
You got to try harder, Brad. You got to play longer things. Play the whole.
That's what I did. That's why. Well,
the whole show.
Play the whole show. Yeah.
Well, I played that one longer so Joe would get here. Give you Joe time to get here from his very important meetings. Also, Donna, here's something that happened last week after the show. My sister got a hold of me and told me that I need to listen more and stop trying to be so funny and take in the information and stop, spend more time listening to what you say. And do you think I should do that?
This is the big debate. Is this comedy with counseling or counseling with comedy?
Joe?
I don't know anything about counseling, so don't.
I do.
No idea, none whatsoever. So,
well, and I tried to say the point is that you say regular stuff, and me and Joe say just the opposite, worst things we can think of.
Yeah, we're totally. Let's be honest, and we're here to undermine you, and
that's right.
That's that. We probably should seek counseling.
So this is called How to Frustrate Your Therapist.
Yes,
that's right.
Oh,
that's right. And if we would ever, oh, by the way, Joe, she was very complimentary of you and said that you actually say many things of value. I've never.
I wasn't. That's whoever that called.
My sister said all this. So she's probably listening now, and she's going to be mad at me later for saying all this. But that I need to listen and stop trying to do the joke. I said, well, but that's my only role here.
And it's your show, Brad. Let's face it. You kind of put it out there. So I don't even know why I'm here, to be honest with you, but I enjoy it.
Entertain us. You are here to entertain us.
That's precisely. That's what it is. So
okay. So last week we ended with I think we ended with this question, and Joey missed it, and it's the same old crap that I'm so tired of hearing. That people keep saying this. Don, I think we ended with this and we didn't talk about it. Who should spank the child? I make my wife do it. She is the bad, mean parent.
This seems to come up every week.
I know. I've got 100 of these.
And why is that? I just, how many times have we answered this? Don't spank the child. Yeah, right?
Like violence is not the solution.
Don't spank the child. Yes, do not do that unless you're using the wooden spoon or the switch.
I like the double setup of this one. Not only is it using violence on small children, but it's damaging their relationship with their mother also.
Yes. They want to be fine and go to the kid. Oh, mom really hit you hard. Oh, my God.
Got a double whammy, fun time, psychological damage happening.
This is like 2 strikes with 1 swing.
Yeah.
If you'll pardon the
how to mess up your children.
Yeah. When realistically, you're just supposed to mentally scar them. with
right.
guilt
much
and
better.
angst.
Yeah.
And,
Well, this does both, Brad. This actually does both.
yes, this mentally and physically scars.
Right. Yeah.
So wow, that's some good
parenting. And it ruins at least one, possibly two, possibly three relationships.
That's right.
This is really, you're getting your money's worth out of this question.
By the way, why I do it every time it comes up, I do it because we need to keep saying, don't hit your kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't at all. Ever. Don't hit. There's no.
Not okay.
It doesn't help you.
Unless they hit you first. And then.
That's true. Yeah.
Like a 5-year-old whacks you. Well, now I have permission.
Now
they get you in the nuts.
Bring out the heavy artillery.
5-year-old. The 5-year-old will get you right in the nuts. They're at the right side. Right at the size of that thing where they just come up and go, wow!
Like all rules are out.
Yeah, and it's a reflex. Wow,
that's part of parenthood right there. Getting whacked in the nads. Yeah,
getting whacked in the nads is part of. You just have to laugh and fall over and say, "Good one, honey." That was a good one. Good shot. By the way, do that when you date guys.
Yes. Yeah. Remember that move. All right.
I know. Okay. That one just drives me nuts every time. Okay. So somebody emailed. Well, they put a question up on the thing. They said, hey, so this is a real question from somebody that came on, and it's long. So listen close. One of us, this is a couple. One of us expresses our ADHD with impulsivity and interrupting. The other has a pet peeve of being interrupted.
Oh,
we've done the whole communication, but that doesn't work. How do you work together to not get upset when the other expresses something they can't control well? That's a lot to unpack.
Wow. And too bad we don't have somebody here who's a therapist, because that would be somebody who could help in this particular situation.
Donna, so you've got a couple, and that's a thing, especially with people with ADHD and strong ADHD getting married, and their partner does get frustrated when exactly what my sister's talking about with you and I here, the impulsivity and the interrupting and stuff like that. And how do you think they should work on that?
So it's actually really common. We come across this a lot because that interrupting urge is anxiety based. And the more anxiety someone has, the more they're going to want to interrupt.
I don't right there. Maybe I don't.
We both did the same thing at the same
time. Right. What are the odds?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, children. All right. So anyway, with the anxiety based interrupting problem. So the person with the anxiety that wants to interrupt should find another option to manage their anxiety versus interrupting, which could be write it down. Okay. You have a thing in your head that you must say right now. Not cool to interrupt. Write it down. So take a paper and pencil with you everywhere, whatever you have to do to not interrupt. The person who is being interrupted, a pet peeve about it, well, that's your own anger. Maybe you were like interrupted way too much in your life and now you have like an issue and get angry about it. It's not really something to get angry about. But one of the things that we use in therapy is the speaker has an item. Yeah. Speaker has an item. It could be the couch pillow. It could be whatever. Yep.
Handgun. Yeah.
It's my turn.
Bat.
Talk. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And then you can just hit them over the head when they do talk. You just bonk them. If you have one of those air baseball bats.
Yeah.
And if they interrupt you, just bonk them on the head.
How about whoever gets to talk is holding his junk, and then if he tries to interrupt, she just squeezes.
Yeah, that'll do it right there. So, speaking, interesting story you're talking about that, Donna, and I think this is great. Is I know somebody who has any number of ADHD kind of issues. All right, and rather than interrupt whenever they're listening to someone and they want to make a point, I've seen them do this. They'll take a finger and put it on the table or sit on it or do something. And then they'll remember that issue and then they'll do it. And so until they get to 10 and then they have to blurt it out. But I always thought that was interesting too. Yeah.
Then they go to toes.
Right. That. I'm pretty bad about that. I interrupt all the time because, it's like one of the problems is my memories don't stay there very long. They're fleeting. I'm old. So when I think of something, it's like I have to say it right, especially if it's funny. It's got to get out right then, or else the moment is gone. And that's a
or
problem.
you think it's funny.
Yeah, and then I find out really quick that it's not.
That it's not.
Yeah.
Timing is a big issue there. Funny
Yeah.
guys. Like,
The other thing is about when someone interrupts you, there are polite ways to deal with that. Just like let me finish, or I'm talking here, or shut up. That's a good one.
Back off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
stop
mine.
interrupting.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I see. I have the same problem, and mine is that it's not even an argument. I just feel like I should get to interject every once in a while a thought that's just one thought on what they're talking about. Like my wife will be telling some story and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's like this. And I want it, but I want you to sit there silent until I finish this 20-minute story. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'd like to throw in a thing here and there and try to enhance it. And she's doesn't want to be enhanced in any way.
Yeah. That's a curse.
Doesn't want to be enhanced. I was enhancing.
The curse of being a comedian, and I've told this to my wife many times, is silence is my enemy. If I'm on stage and there's nobody laughing or there's nobody reacting, then I'm not doing my job. And it's like that's why I never shut up. And she's done such a great job of tolerating that over the years. And she only spanks me occasionally.
That's an improv thing too. They're doing this, and you want to slip in a little wingy.
True that.
When they're doing that. So
occupational hazard, Donna. That's what it is with us.
Oh, is that what it is?
Indeed.
That improv while your partner is sharing their day with you, not necessarily a good idea.
Well, but look at it this way. Like look at it time, like 4 comics on a ship, me and Joe, and pick 2 other guys. And all we do is blah, 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 back and forth and back and forth. And no one cares. Nobody's like, shut. Well, actually, there is one guy that we tell to shut up, but that I won't say his name because I like him. But we are doing that the whole time, just throwing it in. And then we don't realize normal people hate that crap. You know what I mean?
True.
They can't stand it.
Yeah.
So,
I've found out in doing, whenever you do corporate work, that the people who have leadership roles are really intolerant of interruptions.
Like, who would think it?
Yeah.
The CEO can't stand it when he's up there talking and I scream out, shut up.
Yeah. Can't do that. So let's get back to marriage, shall we, kids?
Yeah. But it's all lead up to this. And especially with somebody with ADHD, one of the things that I heard that you say that I really love is the person with ADHD needs to also have some tools in their kit and know what they're doing. They don't get to win because they have, you know what I mean? They don't get to do whatever they want.
It's not you have to have accommodations then.
That's right.
And work with it. Don't pretend that it doesn't exist.
True that.
So let's hope the person who asked that question is listening right now. Okay. Right. Hey, here's one. Joe, you're going to this is your question.
Is this about spanking?
But in the bedroom. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. No. Do you realize how much money you would have if you didn't have children?
Oh boy.
Do some calculations real quick. I just let's see.
I can't count.
More? More would be for whatever this is worth, our youngest just moved out this week.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we're now empty nesters. And she just moved out into an apartment. And mom and dad thought they'd help. Help was 2 different meanings to each of us. My idea of help was I'll carry the furniture to the van and take it into the apartment. Mom's idea of help was buying everything in the apartment.
That's right.
All right.
Here's what we need.
We're shopping.
Yes.
And
is
your
gender specific thing. I was just
Bed Bath and Beyond,
everywhere. Yeah,
and your
IKEA, Target, whatever. Yeah. So,
and your child's idea of helping is you pay the rent.
No, we're not. We don't know. She is on her own. I mean, that's part of the deal. That's why she stayed here this long, was because we didn't want anybody to be, strapped. So when she showed us the numbers and said, "Look, I think I can handle this," we said, "Bye-bye."
What kind of job do they have?
I don't know, but apparently it's at a desk with an office.
Okay.
Wow. You're not a kind of parent that delves in deep into their child's lives. Or
She's a millennial, so it has something to do with that generation, and I don't know what it is. It's not selling insurance. I know that. So anyway, but she says she's got an office and she's got a desk and she does stuff. So
okay, well, success.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't realize, but you should have, is that it gets so much more expensive as they get older. Yeah,
it's less frequent, more expensive. When they're younger, it's more frequent, less expensive.
Oh, good point.
Might be the same amount. Might be the same.
It might be the same. Now, it's nitpicky little stuff, and I always get bugged by the. I think if I could just have the money back from fundraisers, from school fundraisers, I would be a millionaire right now. If
I'm going to be honest with you, that cookie dough was not worth it. No, I'm going to be honest. No, yeah.
No. If I ate one more piece of crappy fruit. Yes. I
don't need wrapping paper that's that expensive. I mean, for goodness sake.
Band candy. Are we kidding here? What the band candy? And then what's funny is those companies, the company, they take 99% of the money.
Yeah, it's almost a scam.
Slave labor is what it is.
Labor. It's crazy. These companies. I was like, dude, can I do anything to get a school to sell my crap and take 90% of the money? It's just, these companies are just such scams.
Yeah. It's almost like they'd use that for maybe a teaching moment at the school, huh?
Yeah, teach them how to get scammed.
Yeah. But seriously though, the question is interesting because they're speaking how monetarily, but it's not the same. You're talking about someone's life. I mean, what was it? What was the trade-off on bringing up a child and having a child and all the joy of having a family and all that stuff? Was it worth it is a better question. Is it worth bringing up a child? Is it worth the money involved, the expense?
Nah, not even little. Nope.
And the answer is no. Yeah, obviously no, absolutely not.
Should have. Give me the cash.
Probably shouldn't
have. Take the cash. I won't even know about it.
Right. I'm broke as hell. I can't.
Yeah, broke as hell. $32,000 a year in college.
Oh, for God's sake! Don't even get me started on college. Yeah. So the answer is a lot more money. I'd have a lot more money.
I'd have.
I don't know if I would have a lot more money because I don't know if I'd be motivated to make money if it was just me.
Well, that's interesting.
I guarantee that Joe and I would have a lot more money. First of all, I would have worked before we had a kid. I was doing 50 weeks, almost a year on the road at some way, 46 years. And when my daughter was born, I said, I will stay home most of the time. I worked 8 days a month for 5.5 years and dropped in half what I was making, which was fine, before I started building up again and stuff like that, and gave up a zillion opportunities that will never come back. Right now, as I try to find anyone to get me work, there's people I haven't talked to in so long and have never worked that are just like, well, we don't know who you are anymore. So that alone is a lot of money that let's be clear. I don't care. I'd give it all up to have this kid, not Joe's, but that not a chance in hell. Oh my God. Nightmare he had to live through. But I don't know. I've never met Joe's kids. My sister now is so angry. All right.
When my family was watching the show, I think they all just signed right off. There we go.
Yep. Bye-bye to them. By the way, the person who asked the question about ADHD said they are listening and they wish they hadn't have asked. Okay. So, hey, here we go. Donna, this one's for you.
Oh, okay.
What sex act is the best? What sex act is the best? And by the way, I have the best answer for this, and that is I saw a couple in Vegas a couple years ago.
Did you pay for that?
It was like $105. Their sex act was amazing. There was twisting and turning and falling and dropping and dripping. That was gross.
I was supposed to stay in Vegas, but what were you going to say?
No, I'm done. Go ahead. What's the best sex act?
So I don't even know how to define the best. The best for having babies, the best for like a female orgasm, the best for a male orgasm, the best if you're 50 plus, the best if you're, what are we talking about?
All of it. Go.
We got time.
Oh my gosh. There is research about what
Well,
positions tend to stimulate the body in the most effective ways. And for females, from what I understand, it's from behind, where the guy is at a bit of an angle, like, so that there's a downward angle.
Okay, so downward angle, you get
Yeah,
a
it's not
downward,
like
up and so like that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that, or like more
here's
like
her
oh,
and here's him, like,
yeah.
like
Okay, so okay, got it. All right, good.
Okay, she's the pipe.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, let's get some props here.
That's what we're doing. Alexa, nobody talk to you. Alexa, stop.
Dolls. You want me to get dolls and like?
I think that is an absolutely subjective question. It's whatever's best for you. You know what I mean? If some people like to do it missionary, fine. If some people like to do it, doggy, as they call it, style, then good for you. If you like the trapeze, fine. Like, or the swing that we have in our room, fine, whatever, Wesson oil, and I don't care.
My wife likes the
whatever it takes.
Bedroom.
What's that?
My wife likes the separate bedroom.
There's another one. That's the one that's
position.
most popular in our house.
Be in her own room.
What? There's no what position. You know what? Buy a Kama Sutra.
Position. It says
look some stuff up and experiment. Whatever's best for you. There are hundreds of positions.
Have you guys looked through that Kama Sutra?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
That took somebody some time.
Yeah, somebody
together.
There was whoever wrote that had a lot of time for that kind of stuff, and that's the other thing is people just don't have enough time for that. Because
there are videos you can watch, and
it's called porn.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's porn, but they're actually learning type videos, and it's an Indian couple that does these. My wife and I watch some of these where they're acting out the Kama Sutra.
Oh, that's interesting.
Some of them I can't physically do. They're just not.
Yeah.
I would break something.
If you think yoga is hard, try doing some of those positions because that some of those don't even make sense to me. I'm like, you drew that, but you can't do that.
Yeah,
no
way.
But you can't do it.
Yeah. Prove it.
Prove it.
You need to write a book called "You Drew It, but You Can't Do It." I think that's.
What's interesting is somebody would actually ask that question. There's so many resources to just find out yourself, Well,
but maybe they're looking for advice from us. And Donna gave a good one. She said, "Hey, try this or try this," and I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
One thing though that doesn't happen as much for people that have a good sex life is they don't know their bodies.
True.
Yeah.
They don't really get to know your body. It's okay to touch your own body. It's okay to do that. You got to find out where your zones are. Where's your erogenous zones that where's the nerves more condensed that it would be, you got to get to know your own body.
Yeah. You don't have to tell. I've touched my body more than anybody's ever touched my body. Let me tell you
I know my own body. I mean, from a certain angle. Yeah. And, but I think you're right about that. I think a lot of people, I don't know. It just seems it's a weird time right now. I can't speak a lot for younger generations, but I know that they have access to everything. They were raised with access to everything. They can see everything on the internet. I think it's a question now of finding out what works best for you, whoever you are. You got to experiment. That's all there is to it.
Well, I'll tell you something, and that is that it also changes because 25 years ago, there were many positions that we found enjoyable that now I'm immediately going, not in my knee. No, that's not, that is not working on that knee. Or she's like, okay, no, we're not doing this anymore. It just doesn't work this way.
Yeah.
So we're paring down 3 or 4 things that we can actually get done and work. And some don't work that long. I'm like 5 minutes in going, okay, this was fun, but now my shoulder is about to go out. So we need to switch.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so bad that it's like, okay, we have to stop completely because I have just now been hobbled and now.
Yeah. It's always like, I think the correct answer to that question is whatever gives you a cramp. That's the best position right there. Because that means you're working it,
That means you're working it.
Yeah.
Job.
Right.
Okay. So my wife and I watched an old Will and Grace a couple days ago, and Leo had cheated on Grace. And they were talking about telling her and how you do it and stuff like that. So I looked up how to tell someone you cheated on them in the kindest way possible.
This ought to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I guess that's a Mad Men or something. So, okay. So let's look down and see the first one. Is there cheat? Well, I'm just going to skip all this and get the first one. First of all, consider whether telling your partner about your infidelity is a good idea. Donna, is it always a good idea?
It is not always a good idea.
No.
Tell us when it is and when it isn't.
If you are for sure done with that relationship and you really, really want to change, it's not necessary to talk about that, but you have to really be ready to change.
Yeah.
If someone, I don't know if they already know information, you don't want to gaslight them. Like, what are you talking about? You do have to share, especially what they already know. But once someone hears something or sees something, they can't forget what they heard or saw.
Yep.
And for many that have busy brains like this, it will keep popping in there like that and destroy them. So I think it's not always a good idea to share, especially details. I keep telling people over and over, you do not need the details. You do not need the details.
I think a lot of times, though, the person who gets cheated on is always then after that going to be pressing and pressing and pressing for details. Like that's going to help in some way.
Yeah, that is an urge they have because they think for some reason something in what's going to be said will make them feel better.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It doesn't make you feel better to get details. You do not need details to move on, to get past something.
Right.
It's going to hurt you to get details.
I think if you feel the necessity to tell details, you're just bragging.
You're saying, hey,
man. From this article, that would be the unkind way.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You did that thing you won't do.
Yeah.
If you do that, then so in the episode, because my wife and I talked about this, whether you want to know or don't want to know, that it's sometimes the person is going to tell because they don't want to feel guilty. It does for them. They don't want to spend the time being guilty. They feel like I'll be guilty and I feel it all the time. So I'm going to tell. And you're right. It's not always good. If it's a kiss or something small or emotional and it's over, not as big a deal. But if you actually have sex with somebody else and you really chose that, and in this case, they were both really drunk and then they did it. So I think maybe you're right. Not telling is the best idea because it is over. Yeah. But in some cases, you're not drunk and you make this choice and you have sex with somebody. Yeah, I don't know. Is it ever going to happen again?
Well, yeah. If you have a second wife and a second home, you might want to, consider to think about this before you say
I'd keep that to myself. Yes, I think that's true. So, Joe, did you tell your wife how well you know your own body? That's the you're cheating on her with yourself.
Honey, there's something I have to tell you.
Honey,
I probably know. Okay, next up.
If you decide to tell them, make sure you're in the right setting. What, Disney? What, you want to be in Disney? You want to be on the roller coaster? Honey, I've got something to tell you. I cheated.
Here's the wrong setting. Honey, there's something I want to tell you. This is my girlfriend. Yeah. That'd be the wrong setting.
Tell her at the girl's house. Yes,
right.
That's the way to go.
I'm voting for in a therapist office is when you should talk.
That's a perfect setting, Donna. Thank you very much. That is the perfect setting. Yes.
So what do you do if you need like a mediator? You're blindsided, but now you're blindsided, Donna.
I think you got to define the right setting. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be talked about ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean ahead of time?
Like, I would know that that's what we're going to be talking about.
How do you know?
Because I'm not having a session that I don't know what's going on. I run the show.
No, I know, right. But if two people come in and you've said, okay, we're going to talk about that, and they're just sitting, and then somebody goes, you know what? I can't do this. I have to talk about this. Honey, I cheated.
All right. Then we can work around it. We can work with it.
And they say, with Donna.
Oh boy.
Then I would crack up laughing. Drink my drink.
What does it say here? I didn't even read this. At
It
home
says
with plenty of, not in a crowded restaurant. I would think the crowded restaurant's the best place to do it.
Perfect place. Yeah. Then she can't get mad at you.
Can't hit,
Yeah.
she can't
That's
throw
great.
anything.
Yeah.
And by the way, we've decided it's the man that cheated, by the way. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. It's always the man that's
Decided it's only the man. Oh, here's something you just said. You should simply stick to the facts at first. And by the way, do it naked in bed. That's always the best.
Wait a minute. You should simply stick to the facts at first. What do you start making stuff up as you go on?
That's right. She forced me. I was tied down, and then I tried to fight her off, but I just.
Brad calls it enhancing.
Yeah,
that's right. You're enhancing things.
I'm enhancing things, and being naked when you do it is always the best
time.
Let's do it in bed.
After you fooled around, you say, "By the way,
yeah,
I fooled around with that one the last week."
Yeah.
By the way,
that was great, honey. Almost is not as great as the time that I just had with my. Okay, all right, go ahead.
You know what Joanne did? She did this.
That's comparing. That's good. That would work really well.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it says don't leave out important details for the sake of your partner's feelings. What the hell is that?
Yeah, I know.
I don't agree with that at all.
There's something wrong with that. It says AMC, so we're taking advice from a movie channel.
Yeah.
Okay, give clear amount. Screw that. Okay. Don't try to defend your actions, but make sure you're honest about what led to the infidelity. Oh, honey, you're frigid.
This one is crucial because if you're going to talk about what you did, you have to own it.
You absolutely should own it.
And why you did it. You don't go, well, you were blah, 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 and that's why I did it. You chose to do that. You have to own it, and you have to understand what led you to that. This is the biggest step of repairing relationships after infidelity.
But you also have to know it's wrong. Because I know a lot of guys.
Well, that's part of owning it.
I know a lot of guys. I'm a man. I need it. I deserve it. And if I don't get it enough, it's my right to go out and get this. And I have heard men say this.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I know.
You've been hanging out with the wrong men.
Then be prepared to get into the dirty details.
No.
This article really wants you to get into details more than you should, if you ask me.
Oh my gosh.
I think what that should say is be prepared to answer any questions, right? And that's part. Don't you think, Donna?
You can be prepared.
Well, it says if she wants to know the details, what?
Some are best not to answer because you're putting stuff in that person's head that they can't get out.
Well, I say lie and say you don't remember. Say, well, I was drunk and it was all kind of hazy and it wasn't good. I remember getting nauseous the whole time and it was really weird. And then she, her putting that gun to my head was really wild. It made me so scared. So because it says if she wants to know the details that you think might be overly personal, ask her if she really wants to know. And since she's like, hell yeah, I really want to know.
Well, that's one of the things that, I've always been honest about a lot of stuff. I've been that way with my kids, my wife. I said, look, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And I'll be honest about it. Just be prepared to know that if you're going to ask a question, I'll tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah. So, I do the same thing, except I go, but what's going to happen is I'm going to talk around it for like 2 hours.
Oh boy.
Before you get to, then we'll finally get to it. But man, are you going to be broken, worn down by the time we get there?
I wasn't going to drink tonight. You weren't going to drink tonight, but after this show, I'm going to drink tonight. I really am.
Already got to drink it. Know what you're willing to do to save the relationship if that's what you want.
What kind of caveat is that at the end of this article? If that's what you want, who wrote this thing? Harvey Weinstein?
I bet.
They're just pretending that's what they want.
Harvey Weinstein? But you're not required to be a punching bag. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. If you cheated, you got to take the lumps, man. Take the lumps.
I concur with that.
No.
Okay, no? Donna, go ahead and talk about that.
If you
made a mistake, you had bad judgment, whatever your issue is, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Getting abused, being abused afterwards as being the punching bag and you're so terrible, that's not an excuse to be abused. It's not a free
What if
pass.
you have extremely low self-esteem?
I disagree. I think anytime something happens, they get to bring it up and go, well, no matter what you do, go, yeah, but did I cheat last week?
Yeah.
No.
It's their pass for the whole future. You will never be able to get over anything ever again.
Welcome to the restaurant tonight, ma'am. What would you like to have? Whatever his girlfriend was having.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. What did the slut order?
That would never fly.
For the rest of your life, you have to live with this.
But there is a thing that you have to live with, and that's your partner will get triggered. Like, it's traumatizing to realize you've been betrayed. And there will be times where your partner might see something on TV or something, and they'll be like, ooh, it's reminding them of that moment, and they should be able to say, I'm feeling triggered right now. You have to be
you have to respect each other's feelings, and in all honesty, you have to respect each other's feelings, make way for them. And I mean, that's a two-way street in that, but still
it is triggering when you show them the video that you took of it. That is that's triggering. It really does trigger. No, honey, let's.
How do we start the show, Fred? How do we start the show?
We're going to end this show in about 2 minutes. You should also decide if anyone else will be told. Oh, yeah, her mom and dad are going to be told if they're still alive. They're going to be.
People tell their kids.
That's the question.
My God.
It's the kids.
Tell their kids.
Yeah.
I still have this to this day where they're like, and I go, what did you tell them about why you guys are separating? Well, we told them because they cheated. Because this person cheated on me. And I'm like, what?
That's got to be brutal for the kids. That's got to be terrible. Why would you do that? Why would you bring anybody else into this if it's you and if it's a two-person problem? I don't know about that one. So
because some people just gotta share and they've got to talk about it and you know what I mean? They just they can't help it. By the way, consider getting professional help. No, that's stupid.
Why would anybody need a therapist?
That's crazy. I can't believe
it. What a thought.
What a thought. Get professional help. What a dummy. Okay, I'm going to give up. Okay, so well, there you go. Hey, hey, let's start next week easy.
With
if there's a show next week, I don't know yet. With this one, it's you know what, Joe? You said we keep repeating things, and we do. People ask the same questions all the time, but they need to hear the answers all the time. And there's always new people. As Donna says, she gets people walking in. You know, you should videotape one of your sessions and just play it for half these idiots for their first session and see if they need more.
Not everybody's an idiot. We need to address all of these people as though they're human beings.
Okay, but human beings can be idiots. That's all.
True that.
How do you get your spouse to use the dirty clothes hamper? Don't talk about it now.
Oh my God, we just talked about that today.
We did.
My wife and I did. Yes.
Oh, you talked about it. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
A discussion.
Stop it. No discussion.
Oh.
Okay. No, I'm writing it down.
No discussion. Oh, wait, I forgot to play the ad. Here we go.
We hope you're enjoying 1000 Marriage Questions. We love doing this show. Do you know it takes a lot of time and work to put this show together? So if you enjoy the show and have the means, consider donating to the show. We will use the money to pay for food, mortgage, education for our kids, paying for this platform. You get it. We are comedians without comedy, doing whatever we can to entertain America. If you can help, we'd appreciate it. Go to virtualcomedyshow.com and click Donate to 1000 Marriage Questions. That again, virtualcomedyshow.com. Donate to 1000 Marriage Questions.
All right. Thank you, Donna Wilburn. Thank you, Joe Marlotti, whatever you're doing in life. We will have a show next week, and we will see you then. Bye.
Goodbye now.